Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, fillies and gentlecolts, dragons of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Pondering Pony. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co host. His hunger for podcasting's endless, and I'm forced to help. Jay!
Yup, that's me.
Yes, the
Here
never
in
ending
everyone's shadows.
Yes. Anyway, this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. And this week we are back to talk about G1's My Little Pony and Friends Bright Lights.
Yeah, so this episode arc was released October 13 through 18, 1986. Written by Barbara Petty, who wrote for other Hasbro TV shows, G.I. Joe, Gem, Transformers. We've been seeing a lot of that crossover with the show, I think. A lot of writers crossing over between all of those. And we have animation, as always, by Sunbow Productions, Marvel Productions, and Toei Animation. Music by Rob Walsh and songs by Tommy Goodman.
Yes. And the story for this four-part episode is Megan and a few of the baby ponies go to a concert to the popular pop star Nightshade. And afterward, Megan lets the baby ponies wander off on their own, and they bump into Zeb, Nightshade's manager. And Zeb and Nightshade kidnap the ponies and steal their shadows. Megan goes back to Parasite's estate to tell the other ponies that she can't find the baby ponies, and they form a search party. At Nightshade's camp, they successfully rescue the ponies and capture Nightshade. He reveals that he made a deal with Erebus, a wizard who offered to make him famous. With Zeb's help, Erebus has been using Nightshade to lure creatures into concerts and steal their shadows. And Zeb puts the shadows in a satchel, which he then hands over to Erebus to consume. The Nightshade teams up with Megan and the ponies, and they go to his hometown of Greyville to confront Erebus. And with the help of the Grave Aliens and a last-minute Flutter Pony Ex Machina, they are able to defeat Erebus and return everyone's shadows. Yes, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, I think this is more interesting than a lot of the previous arcs. Like, there is a genuine menace here, and there's some good sense of danger. There's some creepiness with the grave aliens, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is sort of like, especially the first episode has this like skeeziness to the characters of Zeb and Nightshade, where they're like luring these baby ponies in, sort of this like tale of showbiz manipulation.
Yeah, it's an episode that I'm honestly shocked that would have been done in 1980s, because it's like this is I would see this in 2000s and 2010s, especially with our understanding of show business, specifically with like kids and show business. It's like, oh man, watching this episodes with now modern knowledge, it's like, oh boy, this is what they're doing this. And then
But
you have,
I mean, it is a trope that's been around for a very long time.
I
The
know, I
predatory
know,
show business.
but I look at Erebus and I'm thinking, why does he look so much like Harvey Weinstein? It's so uncanny how interesting this has aged.
Uh-huh.
Surprising. I think it's better conceptually aged than the other episodes so far, especially because we have modern baggage to put into it. But it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think there's more to think about with this one than there usually are. It does like it becomes less interesting the further in we get.
Of
Like, it's the
course,
most interesting when it is Zeb and Nightshade, and then the stuff with Grey Veil, and I don't know, Erebus just isn't interesting enough of a big bad here. Like, he doesn't have a compelling motivation or anything. And his
it's,
interactions with, because there's that distance between him and everything else, like Zeb is the character who comes off the creepiest of all of the characters, the way that he is manipulating people, but he's not the big bad here. It's Erebus. She just has like a generic wants more power motivation.
yeah. He consumes shadows. I mean, shadows. being an implication for souls with how they're depicted here. It's like, oh man, the show business steals the souls of everyone. It's like, oh man, that's great subtle stuff. Um, but yeah, once we get to part three and we actually start confronting Erebus, it's like suddenly all the intrigue is gone and we're met with such mediocrity in
Yeah.
how characters talk to Erebus, how they handle, and it's like, man, there's no intelligence here. Um, the Megan's plan: walk up to Erebus, tell him to stop, with no plan to like enforce anything. It's just like, what, Megan? At this point, you should know better, and that's
No one knows better. No one learns any lessons in these are like
mhm.
the ponies keep getting kidnapped. The ponies keep getting captured. They keep like it's just over and over again with these things that keep happening to them. You'd think that they would have a better way of approaching these situations, but no.
No, yeah, not at all. Like Megan lets these baby ponies go off on their own to go and buy ice cream. It's like Megan, like what are you
Like
doing?
the kidnapping has been a major issue. Like the ponies have a higher than average instance of kidnappings. Why is she letting them out of her sight?
Yeah, it's not great, and we're not gonna learn anything from this. They're still gonna be kidnapped in later
Yeah.
episodes. It's it's a thing. It's very disappointing once we get to just the third and fourth parts where it's like, okay, the intrigue of the setup and the idea is not as interesting with the confrontation because like stuff happens. It doesn't make sense. They drop the satchel, but then the satchel ends up like four floors in on a different random room and they're like chasing around. I don't know, it doesn't make much sense. It's
They are good at having narrative twists in the first half. And then in the second half of these arcs, they all forget that and it just becomes very generic. Because that
it
was also
also
the issue with Ghost of Paradise Estate, where the first half we're having some like twists and some reversals of perceptions. The only one that has done that throughout the whole thing has been the Glass Princess. Actually, that one doesn't even do it throughout the whole thing. That's just the last episodes that do it.
mhm. Yeah, it also doesn't help that like the animation isn't really helping the story,
No.
especially this episode in particular. We'll talk about animation later on, but my
Okay.
goodness,
Yeah.
the correlation between story and animation in this one is just they're not on the same page at all.
Uh,
It's frustrating.
it's also just
Um
a little disappointing that this ends with the Flutter Ponies once again showing up and saving the day.
It's like I laughed out so hard when that happened because they show up out of nowhere. It's like it's not even hinted at all that like the flutter ponies are part of this narrative, and then they
Yeah.
show up with their grand songs like "We are the flutter ponies," and then they defeat Erebus, and I'm like, okay, I mean, great that they're doing stuff, but also it is such a cop out. It's a Deus
Yeah.
Ex Machina. It's not even well written. So I just realized this when I was watching this last night. It was Molly and another pony who flew away to go and get the flutter ponies.
Oh, yeah.
But like that's not at all clear.
No,
Because
no,
like
that isn't.
they fly away, they almost get captured, and then they escape. Then the flutter ponies show up, they do their thing, and then at the end of the episode, after everyone's defeated, Molly shows back up. They hug, and that's it. She never mentions. It's like that's a great plan you had there, Macon, to bring the flutter ponies. It's like no, none of that was ever stated or implied. And it took me 3 watches to be like, wait, hold on a second. Why is Molly doing this? Why are they going? It's like, oh wait. Are they the one who got the flutter ponies? Oh, that could have been so much clearer.
Yeah.
um, yeah.
For starting out so well, it does kind of stumble a lot at the end there. Um, but yeah, once again, we have sort of the antagonist ends up being the most compelling character here. Nightshade specifically, sort of this deal with the devil plotline that he has. I kind of wish they had dug a little bit more into that. I don't know. I wish he had been the focal character almost, but I don't know. He also has this interesting relationship with his hometown, with the Grey Valians, that they feel betrayed by him, but I don't know. They are pretty quick to forgive him in the end, which I guess you need for like the resolution. But
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. We also had the mice in this. Like
yeah,
they
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 just don't
serve
add anything.
they serve no purpose, and they're also not very intelligent. Like Megan shows up to their town. It's like, hey, we're looking for Nightshade. It's like, oh, Nightshade, let's capture you and bring mob justice because you're clearly friends with Nightshade for no reason. And then they're just in the background, and
Yeah,
then it becomes a whole animation problem again. Well, again, animation
yep.
that is a later discussion. But yeah, no, they serve no purpose, not even the story. Um,
You know what one of the issues is? It's that all of these arcs are 4 episodes. If this was 3 episodes instead, they could chop down on things. They could tighten
they
up the
could.
narrative a bit. You wouldn't need to have the mice there. You could. I have a different solution to a certain problem, which I'm gonna bring up later. But you wouldn't need to have all of this time filling.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty much what most of the interactions with Erebus felt was them time wasting.
Yeah.
Sure, they found out it's like, oh, with our time wasting, that means Erebus is losing power, but that doesn't really matter at all, really.
No. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so Nightshade very quickly after he gets a interaction with our characters, he's like, oh, I was roped into this. Uh, I was forced into it, and he's it's interesting because the animation again does not follow that subtlety to his character, like of him being forced to do this, because there's so many scenes where he's like smiling evilly while they're
Yeah.
doing the evil acts, and I'm like, you really should give him a little more subtlety than that. um the performance gives him subtlety with like the way he says his lines. It's like, I'm not sure about this, or oh, that's nice. But the way they animate him, it's like, oh, he's clearly in cahoots and like down to steal these ponies as shadows.
Yeah.
Um, until it's revealed otherwise, and it's yeah, no, it's something. Our Michael Jackson Prince wannabe.
And yeah, it, that's another thing that has aged interestingly, but not
Oh,
to wade into that controversy. Um,
sure,
yeah,
yeah.
the other big character or big villain here, I guess, because Erebus, I don't know, Erebus is just so generic that I don't really care. But Zeb is a little bit more interesting. He's sort of the predatory manager archetype,
Mm-hmm.
and menacing in a way that feels more real than any of the previous villains we've seen. Like all of the previous villains are like world domination type villains. He has this much more sinister and small scale operation of like luring these people in and then stealing their shadows. Like,
Businessman with like these like horrible contracts and steals their souls, their shadows.
yeah.
Why do their shadows contain like their essence and ability? I don't know, but I guess that saying souls was a bit too much. So shadows it
Yeah.
is.
I think his arc would have been stronger overall. Actually, I think the whole arc of these episodes would have been stronger overall if they had just merged him and Erebus. Instead of having Erebus be the big bad who's manipulating everyone, have it be Zeb who wants the shadows. Then it's a little bit more direct. You're like cutting out this extra layer. Um and then you
Sure.
can give Zeb a little bit more characterization, a little bit more motivation, and it
Hmm.
doesn't need to be like good motivation. It can just be, oh, he wants power,
Yeah.
rather than him being sort of the sidekick to Erebus, who, yeah, I don't know. Erebus just is not compelling as a villain.
No, yeah, especially since Zeb is the one doing all the acts, Erebus is just there kind of weak. And I guess that's the point of his character. He's weak and needs
Yeah.
Zeb to steal the shadows, but still,
But
he's a
that's
big
also never
cloud.
like that's never
Yeah,
a thing that factors into anything. It's not like Zeb turns against him and that's what defeats him. It's the Flutter Ponies show up and yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. I
yeah.
was not as
He's
engaged with.
he's a zebra. He
Yep.
stands on two legs. That honestly, that's weird.
It is. It is very
Yeah,
weird.
he's got a very deep voice. Yeah.
Uh, but in terms of our heroes, Megan once again, yeah, I just she's pretty boring as a protagonist in general. The only thing interesting about her is that she keeps making the same mistakes, but the show doesn't treat it as mistakes. It's just like, oh, this is of course Megan would let the ponies wander off on their own. Why wouldn't she?
It's the villain's fault for taking the ponies, not
Uh-huh.
Megan for letting them wander off on their own. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just am as
Again,
always not compelled by Megan as a character.
this is not her best moment, honestly. Again, she has come up with better plans. It's been a while since we had them, but just walking up to him and tell him to stop is not a plan, Megan. I know I know the reason why it's like Nightshade's no longer working for you, so you have no reason to steal shadows. It's like that's nothing, Megan. You need to confront it better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I guess the only reason why the mice are there is to be like, our other like rat cousins are like helping the hench mice just don't they're
They
not
don't
consistently
factor in.
there. They
No,
don't
yeah.
really factor in. That's the only reason why the mice show up to help, and they
Yeah.
don't really even do anything with it. It's all over the place.
It's a mess,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a mess.
Oh,
Baby
but
ponies.
yeah,
I mean,
they're the baby ponies. Like obviously, I think the most interesting thing with them is the first episode where it's like they don't know any better so they get lured in by this promise of meeting a pop star and like they don't know not to trust adults and that not all
mm,
adults will have their best interest in mind. So some of the most uncomfortable in a good way scenes in this are, them with Zeb and Nightshade, and we know as the audience that they are in trouble, but they do not understand that. Um,
mm-hmm.
and the tension of like what is going to happen to these ponies, and then what happens is they get their shadows stolen, and apparently that's a bad thing. I don't know.
Yeah, they also like figured out very quickly that the reason why they don't feel well is because their shadows are gone, and apparently that's Nightshade's fault. We need to have the story happen for reasons, but it's like, man, that those that leap of logic is correct, but it's also why why would you make such a leap in logic? It's something.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they don't really matter by the end.
Yeah, no. They fade into the background after getting rescued, which has been the fate. This is another issue with the show is there's just so many ponies. And we don't have like that many repeat ponies. So it's hard to get a handle on who's who. And B, the most of the ponies are just kind of in the background. They're just set dressing, following Megan around. So yeah, we don't get much time with the ponies as like separate
Yeah,
characters.
yeah, and so the baby ponies are really just moral supports, and they end up being like, yeah, we'll sing and dance with you, and like the performance at the end.
Uh-huh.
Um, that's about it. Yeah, they're yeah they're there,
Yep.
they're there, they're there just like their mothers that are also there. Um, yeah,
Are they the mother? I guess they are. They do refer to them as the mothers, I think.
okay, they're clones of their mothers. They're exact clones of their
Okay,
mothers.
clones. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, they're
So
exact clones. They
that's
look
how the
exactly the same. Yeah. No. Like this is not specified in the show, but apparently there was like this British comic release that was only released in the UK, where it's like the lore of the baby ponies is that the ponies, they found a magic mirror, they looked into the mirror, and the mirror gave them cloned children of them,
Oh, of course.
and that was it. That's the toy lore, I guess. That's never at all specified in the show, but that's, I guess, the canonically how it happens.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah,
Well, that was actually going to be my exact guess, my second guess, if they weren't
yeah,
mothers, that they were clones via mirror.
yeah. Baby clones, yeah. Lickety
Baby clones
Split
via
wasted a
mirror.
yeah. She wasted a perfectly good ice cream cone. At the
Okay,
beginning of the
okay.
episode.
That first scene, they are in the front row at a concert, and one of the people sitting by them is going crazy. What were they? You Everyone else in this crowd is going wild, and yet Lickety Split is telling the babies to be quiet. What are you doing? What were you expecting? This is not
And then their
the
solution is to like
ballet.
dump the ice cream cone on the pony's head. It's
Yeah.
like, what? What
Oh,
are you doing, Lickety Split? And that's the reason why the baby ponies got captured, because they were looking for a replacement cone.
yeah.
It's it's ridiculous. It's silly. Oh my gosh. The background of that first concert was nightmare fuel. Like it, like none of those creatures were ponies. They were all like everything and everywhere. It was like weird, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was something else.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. This
Oh
show.
boy.
This
This
show.
show. Yeah. Speaking of the show, this episode like is an animation errors galore. It is it is undeniably the worst animated episodes of the show. Um yeah, multiple reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the big thing that we have to talk about here is the 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 shadows. The shadow thing. So
Yeah.
the ponies are like, "Hey, we're missing our shadows." They were missing their shadows before. None of the other characters have shadows. Um yeah, just a massive oversight from the story perspective, the animation perspective, to be like, hey, this the animation is cheap enough that they can't have shadows for the characters most of the time. So making that the pivotal thing is just, it does not work. It's a bad story idea.
Honestly, I feel like they didn't realize that the animation was going to be as cheap as it was when writing this.
Yeah, it's such a big over. And then what makes it even worse is that certain scenes are just, they'll have the scene where they steal the shadows for the ponies, and they'll actually animate the shadows for those scenes, but sometimes they forget to then not animate the shadow once it has been stolen. So the
Yeah,
only time you are seeing shadows is after they have been stolen.
it
It's
is. Yeah, it is. It's honestly just really hilarious watching this. Just how not connected everything is. Because, like, again, throughout most of the episode, they don't have shadows. Even when the characters are talking about them having shadows,
yeah.
it's only when the shadows are specifically threatened by the villains to be stolen that's like, oh, yep, let's put a little shadow there. And then it's just, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly hard to follow. Like, who doesn't have shadows, especially when the character's like, "Oh, we're the only two who has shadows." No, you don't. Uh, then that character who doesn't have shadows suddenly has shadows. Out of nowhere. Sometimes it's like, yeah, no, it's great. It's perfectly great. Honestly, this this whole thing, it felt like each part was done by a different team of people, and I specifically say this because like I'm keeping track of the background all the time and like keeping track of the characters. Man,
Yeah.
do you have okay, so we established that we have two mice that are following our main six, or not the main six, our main characters. We have the mayor and the sheriff. The animators can never keep track of which mice are supposed to be there, except for the mayor. The sheriff, never there. You have some random mice in Lederhosen, multiple different mice with Lederhosen. There's like a shot where we have three mice on screen. Then you have ponies that aren't even part of the adventure suddenly show up for a shot and they're listening intently. It's like, wait, why is that one there? She's not in this episode. What's going on? It's it is a whole mess. It is entertaining to some degree, but it is really bad. Like even the scale to these ponies are just so off. It's like there's a shot where the head of the pony was like the size of Megan's body. It was just it didn't make sense. And then like there's the more the typical egregious stuff where it's like they have an extra limb, uh colors are so wrong, but they're so obvious in this one. Like
Yeah.
it's shocking. Like they held on to these things for so many seconds. It's like how do you not notice that leg is coming and going? How do you not notice this? It's they clearly did not care. They're like, all right,
Well,
we gotta
I
do
I think
this.
it's probably more just, yeah, time and budget
Yeah.
than, because that's the kind of stuff of when you have a bigger budget, when you have more time, you can go back and fix those things. Here, they're just probably cranking this out as quick as they can. Um, don't have a ton of extra budget, don't have a ton. There are like little moments that I do enjoy. Everything in Greyvale when they first arrive, the mist, and then they're actually like playing around with shadows in interesting ways. It's like
Yeah.
that stuff really works. Um, but then yeah, you just have so many, and the animation is just kind of something that I think it's funny to point out some of these things, but this is just what this show is. I think the
Yeah.
shadow thing stands out so much more because it's such an integral part of the plot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the slightly less integral part is the first time that the baby ponies are getting chased around by the mice characters, and one of the mice characters says, "Don't you know you shouldn't be out after dark? It is the middle of the day. The
Yeah.
the sky is bright blue."
Yeah. The only thing they did is like turn down the brightness slightly, but it's still clearly the middle of the day when all this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I imagine a lot of that is just, the writers are writing this probably on a pretty quick timeline as well. They're sending it in. The animation is being done in other countries, people who don't necessarily speak English, who are animating based off of, trying to match the dialogue and doing it very, very quickly. Um, so you have these little issues that in a production that has more time, that has more money, they can go back and say, hey, we don't actually need this character, even though this character is speaking. This is a flashback sequence, so he shouldn't actually be talking for this part.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's not literally saying the lines it's narrated, but that doesn't get, they have to move on to the next shot. They have to move on
Of
quickly.
course.
So
I mean, it's also just very ambitious of an episode to have
yeah,
like multiple huge crowd shots. Like the opening is just so weird looking because they're just filling in the land with like, okay, Ponyland, let's just like put just random animal creatures there that looks
yeah.
creepy as heck. The Gravalians, they're normal looking horses that look really weird
Okay, but
as
that
well.
that is one of the things where it actually enhances it because they look
Sure.
creepy. They look off. They look similar, but not that similar to the ponies that we're familiar with. So it adds something to those sequences. But I do agree in general that, like, yeah, there's the animation is leaving something
Yeah.
to be desired. Again,
the
part
final the final shots of this episode, Nightshade is dancing on Shade, the ponies are in the background, like he's moonwalking, but he's just sliding across the screen while he's also moonwalking, and things should not be sliding the way that they've been sliding. It's yeah, no, it's such a fascinating episode for the animation team. It's like yeah, no, they didn't have enough time to like polish everything as well as they can. Speaking of Nightshade, does his character design look very familiar? Specifically, his hair.
I feel like it should, but it's not occurring to me at the moment.
That is Pinkie Pie's hair.
Okay,
It's got
interesting.
it's got her like poofy design. Even the tail itself, it's like, oh yeah, they just borrowed that hair for Pinkie Pie. So that's interesting.
I think it
Yep.
works well for his character.
Sure.
Like, he definitely does feel like this era of pop star. Yeah, he has the right look for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, performances, I don't know that there's a ton to talk about here.
Yeah, so performances, we have Ben Bush, Carrie Houlihan, Cartwright, Jill Wayne, Sherry Lynn, Katie Lee, Ellen Gerstrol, and then we don't know the actors for Zeb, Erebus, Nightshade, or the Mice at all. It's man, like the IMDb and just like who's in what is such an oversight because we don't know. Like, there's so many characters, big name characters, the main antagonists of these episodes. We don't know who they are, and unless like you have a really good ear and are familiar with the voice acting of this time period, you're not gonna like know immediately. It's such a shame. It's like, man, I want to credit Zeb with that deep gravelly voice. I cannot though, because I don't know who he is. Nobody
Yeah.
else knows as well. It's frustrating.
Yeah, this continues to be the way that the ponies are voice acted, specifically the baby ponies, just I do not enjoy.
By this point, I'm just used to it. It is what it is. So I can enjoy it ironically, I guess. So
Now, the songs are kind of interesting here because we have sort of this pop star character who has a couple songs. Honestly, the bright lights when that started out, I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And then they like dip the audio to have a conversation scene. It's like, "Oh, I kind of wish that they had just let it play out a little bit more." Um,
actually, bright lights are when the baby ponies are singing,
okay,
not
okay, is
Nightshade.
it okay?
Yeah,
Then
Moonwalk ponies. They just repeat the same song at the
okay, it's
beginning
the
of the
same song.
episode.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
it's
the
a
songs in
good
this one, of course, are
poppy
bright
song.
lights. We're gonna make you sorry. Nothing quite like shadows. We are the flutter ponies and moonwalk ponies.
Yeah, I think the two villain songs though, "We're Gonna Make You Sorry," like, the singing in that one leaves a bit to be desired, but it's a fun, like, ominous villain song, and then, um, "Nothing Quite Like Shadows" is just the fun villain song.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And then Moonrock Ponies is just like a typical pop song.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah. For me, my favorite one is "We Are the Flutter Ponies." Like, just because of just how out of place it just felt. It's like, oh, Flutter Ponies show up out of nowhere. They have their song. They're defeating the villain during the song. I like that aspect, but it's just
Yeah.
like whenever I think of Flutter Ponies, I think of this song. We are the Flutter Ponies. um, to remind the audience who these characters are, they have to tell us we are the Flutter Ponies. We have our utter flutter. That's our wing napalm thing. It's
Oh,
yeah,
boy. Yeah.
it's yeah, it's silly. It's ridiculous. I enjoy it. I enjoy it despite its massive flaws.
Yeah, I think this episode gave me more to think about than some of the previous arcs have. Yeah, again, there are just kind of inherent issues with this show that it keeps running into that I have issues with, but this one at least was a little bit more interesting than the average episode has been.
Yeah. Well, that was this episode. So yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to follow us on social media. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Blue Sky and Serialized, and Binging Barbie at Barbie Movie Podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go join our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast. We'll be back next week for more Friendship is Magic with Season 2, Episodes 11 through 12. And until then, don't let the children wander off on their own. Bye, ponies.
Bye, ponies.